Let's be honest, hearing the term high-risk pregnancy can be pretty scary, right? It sounds like something's already wrong. But what if I told you it's actually more of a roadmap than a red flag? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this term, break down what it really means, and see how it's used to make the journey to parenthood safer for everyone involved. So, let's dive in. So what's the deal? What actually gets a pregnancy this high-risk label? Is it a specific condition? Your age? Well, the truth is, it's a really broad term. You should think of it less as a diagnosis and more as a heads up for doctors to pay closer attention and build a care plan that's tailored just for you, right from the very beginning. And you might be thinking this is some rare thing, but check this out. It's way more common than you'd probably guess. The sources we looked at say that somewhere between 15 and 30% of all pregnancies fall into this category. That is a huge chunk, and it really shows you how important this idea is in modern maternity care. And here's the official definition to ground us. It's basically any pregnancy with factors that could, and that's the key word right there, could increase health risks. The label itself is all about prevention. It's not a prediction that something bad is definitely going to happen. Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to walk through this just like a pregnancy, chronologically. We'll start with what the risk factors even are, then we'll jump into preconception care, go through each trimester one by one, and then at the end, we'll zoom out and look at the big picture. All right, so first up, what are these factors we're talking about? You see, identifying risk isn't about being pessimistic. It's about being prepared. It lets your medical team get ahead of the curve and create a watch list, a surveillance plan, right from day one. And it really all boils down to four main buckets. First, you've got the mother's own health, chronic stuff like high blood pressure or diabetes. Then there's her general background and family history. Third, there's what's happened in past pregnancies, like maybe a preterm birth. And finally, you have issues that might just pop up out of the blue during this specific pregnancy. So where does this journey actually begin? Well, for a lot of people, the path to a healthy pregnancy starts even before conception. That's where preconception care comes in. It's all about getting your body ready and setting the stage for the healthiest 9 months possible. A good preconception visit really has three main parts. It kicks off with a big conversation about everything, your family's health history, your lifestyle, the whole shebang. Then comes a full physical exam. And from all that information, you and your doctor build a real plan, which could include anything from blood tests and vaccine updates to starting important supplements. And check this out. This slide is a perfect, practical example of how this works. We all know folic acid is super important for preventing certain birth defects. For most people, 0.4 milligrams a day is the magic number. But if a woman has specific risk factors, like being on certain medications, that dose gets bumped up tenfold, all the way to 4 milligrams a day. That's personalized preventative medicine in action. Okay, so now we are officially in the first trimester. And let me tell you, this period is absolutely critical. These first 14 weeks are a whirlwind of confirming the pregnancy, figuring out the due date, and getting through that first big wave of important screenings. And the timeline here is packed. That first prenatal visit really needs to happen before the 10-week mark. Why? Because that timing opens the door for key genetic tests like chorionic villus sampling or CVS. It also gets you on the schedule for that first major ultrasound, which is crucial for dating the pregnancy and doing an initial screening for chromosomal issues. As part of all that early care, you'll get a massive blood panel done. And this isn't just a random list of tests. Every single one has a really important job. They figure out your blood type, check for antibodies that could affect the baby, and screen for a whole host of infections that could be passed along so that treatment can start right away if needed. Okay. We're moving into the second trimester, and now the focus starts to shift a bit. The new game plan is all about keeping a close eye on the baby's development while also tracking the mother's health as her body changes. So, the checkpoints keep coming. During this phase, you have more genetic screening options, like the quad screen blood test and the amniocentesis. Then you've got the super detailed morphology ultrasound. That's the big one where they check the baby's anatomy from head to toe. And, of course, there's the screening for gestational diabetes. Now, a chart like this can look pretty intimidating, but the way it works is actually fascinating. The quad screen measures 4 specific things in the mother's blood. It's not a simple yes or no. Instead, doctors are looking for patterns. So, for example, a specific pattern of high and low levels might suggest a higher chance for something like trisomy 21 and help decide if more testing is a good idea. It's a really powerful screening tool. Another screening almost everyone gets is for gestational diabetes, and it's usually a two-step deal. You start with a quick 1-hour test. If your numbers on that one are a little high, then you move on to the much longer 3-hour test. And a diagnosis is made if at least 2 of your readings during that 3-hour test are outside the normal range.
And just like that, we're in the home stretch, the 3rd trimester. At this point, the surveillance really ramps up. The focus shifts again, now zeroing in on the baby's growth, making sure they're in the right position, and basically getting everything ready for a safe arrival.
That final routine ultrasound gives doctors a vital sneak peek right before the big day. They're checking a bunch of things here. They're looking at the baby's growth, getting a weight estimate, and really importantly, making sure the baby is head down and ready for birth. They're also measuring amniotic fluid and checking the placenta's location to rule out any last-minute surprises.
There's one last really important screening that happens right at the end, between 35 and 38 weeks. It's a test for something called Group B strep. Now, this is a super common bacteria that's totally harmless to mom, but it can make a newborn really sick if it's passed on during delivery. So if the test is positive, no big deal. They just give antibiotics during labor to keep the baby safe.
So, after that whirlwind tour through all 9 months, what's the big takeaway here? What's the point of all this? Well, the key to all of it is that this entire system is designed around being proactive and providing personalized care. I mean, this quote from the source material just says it all perfectly. The whole goal is to anticipate problems, not just react to them after they happen. It's that constant, careful watching that is the absolute key to lowering risks for everybody involved. So, if you remember just one thing from all of this, let it be this. A high-risk label is not a diagnosis of a bad outcome. It's the complete opposite. It's the start of a personalized care plan, a roadmap designed to give every single pregnancy the absolute best shot at a healthy, happy ending. And that kind of leaves us with one last really big question to think about. If we know this proactive, personalized approach is the key to safer births, how do we make sure that every single person who is expecting a child has access to it no matter who they are or where they live?